What's up, guys? It's Clinton again with Omega Vending here in H-Town. Coming to you today to give you some information about the vending company. I don't have anything going on as far as vending wise today, so no locations today. But if you haven't already done so, go watch my last video. I would appreciate it. We talk a little bit about emptying out schools for the summer, and you might, for those of you that are coming into the business, you might decide whether or not to go into service in schools. Hell, if I had this information back then, and not some hyped up stuff, I probably would have never done it. But we're still making money at the end of the day. Sometimes it can be a little stressful in the schools, but yeah, go watch that video. All right, so today I want to talk to you guys about some of my top misconceptions about the vending business. Number one, you can start a vending company with as low as $800. If I'm starting a company, for me, things have to be legitimate, like on paper, with the state, I'm certified, all these types of things. That's a company. I'm not talking about Joe Blow who decided to go get, a vending machine and put it somewhere. And that's great if you do it that way, but when you say a vending company, I'm thinking LLC. Okay, that's the route I'm thinking of. So if you're starting a vending company, you might want an LLC. And depending on your state, you're gonna pay upwards $300 or more, maybe. In Texas, it's $300. So if your state doesn't require any filing fees, great. I would love for that to have been in Texas. Okay, so when we're talking about starting up a vending company for as low as $800 and you have a $300 fee right out the gate starting your LLC, okay, now I have to consider, okay, where in the price range are my machines going to be? And you hit a lot of feedback online where guys have found machines for, or they say they have, $500-600. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have yet to find a deal online, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, you name it. I've yet to find a deal of anybody selling a machine for $500. That, let me get here. That didn't have issues with it already. That wasn't out of commission or needed extra work on it once you buy it. These are things that you have to consider when you're saying, okay, well, I'm gonna buy me a $500 machine. Number one, you're not gonna find a $500 drink machine. I've yet to find that didn't have issues already, that wasn't missing parts,
or was a scam.
You're gonna spend some money on, and I'm only talking about people that are jumping into the business. I'm not talking about someone, a vending operator who already have extra parts and stuff like that, who can take a part off of something and fix the machine himself. I'm talking about somebody who is fresh to the scene, somebody that's wet behind the ears when it comes to the vending business. You do not want to start your vending company out buying equipment that you're going to have to repair right out the gate. Because number one, you don't know what you're doing. You can always Google it and look it up and try to figure it out. But number one, if I would assume that if you bought a machine, you'd already have your location set. So you don't want to send something to your first client that's breaking down. So no, I would say no, you can't find or buy a machine that's under $1,000. Not a working machine. If you have, let me know. Let me know where you're getting yours from, because I'd love to find it. Trust me, I'd love to find that. But that's one thing to consider, guys. When you're buying machines, whether you're going to buy new or if you're going to buy refurbished or used, outdated. You buy them used, outdated, you're going to run the risk of losing out on possible revenue, because if they're not MDB compatible, you won't be able to accept credit card payments. And now, I don't know about you guys, but nowadays, people swipe them cards. They swipe those cards. So as a vending operator, you have to get with the times. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you buy a $500 machine that is not MDB compatible, you're gonna spend upwards of $1,000 to $1,500 updating the computer on the machine to be able to accept credit card payments. Then you gotta buy the credit card payment, the credit card reader. You gotta buy that. That's gonna run you about $400. At least with NIAX, it's about $400. So we're already over $1,000, and we have not yet put one single item in the machine. So guys, let me be your guide and tell you, for those that are coming into the business, prepare yourself more coming into it. I would say have about $2,500 to $3,000 to start your vending company. I would say that would give you a decent used vending machine. There's plenty of vending machine companies that are out here that you can find that will lease them to you or finance them or whatever you want to call it. You know, and you can use your profits to pay it off over time if you want to do it that way. Credit card, you can pay them off, pay it with a credit card, whatever your way of doing it, you can do it that way. But I want to prepare you guys coming into this to be ready. You know, $800 is not going to cut it. That's a slap in the face to a lot of operators that are really out here doing it. You know, like I said, we haven't even touched what you put in the machine. If you're starting out with one machine, it's probably going to run you about $300 to fill it up. About $300. If you're filling up it completely, I'm assuming that you found a location that has high foot traffic right out the gate. You're thinking, okay, let me fill this thing up. You know, and you fill it up, gonna run you about $300, maybe a little bit more. If you're buying two machines for a location, it's gonna be more than that. If you have a drink and a snack machine, it's gonna be a lot more. So without the other stuff, the insurance and things like that, you're already out the gate close to $2,000. And that's finding a cheap machine, a cheap working machine. You know, I would say a good price to buy a small snack vending machine will be somewhere around $1,000, $1,200. You know, but if you do happen to find those gems online on Facebook Marketplace that are set at $600, $700, don't pass it up. Get it. When you see it, you go there and you check it out, and it's all working. Everything is good. Don't pass it up. But that's only if you got locations. And again, we have to remind ourselves that we're talking about new vending operators. I'm not talking about people that have been in this and are doing it, have locations already, and, you know, buy vending machines just so that, you know, when they're ready to go put it out there, you know, because they don't want to pass up on a deal. You know, because I do that sometimes. I may see a machine and it's like, okay, you know, I know what to look for when I'm going to locations, and, you know, I have people calling me. You know, I have people reaching out to me on email, you know, because I'm listed online and stuff like that. So I have to be ready. You know, if a major company is calling me and they need me to, you know, set up 2 or 3 machines, yes, I'll give them a timeline of, you know, hey, we can do this in about 2 or 3 weeks, you know, just to get, you know, prepare myself. But I want to stay ready. This is for people who already have a lot of machines. But if you're coming out the gate, do not buy your machine before you have a location. You don't know if you'll be able to even fit it in there. You don't know. So make sure you do that. All right, number 2. And we'll probably just do 2 today. Number 2, because I know I rambled on in that first one. Forgive me, please. But I want to give you guys all this information. Number 2, it's so irritating to hear it. You can make $10K a month without doing much work. I don't know any job or anybody that's running a business making $10K a month is not just sitting down. Like, yes, The vending business is one of those where you don't have to be on site. However, if you're running numbers like that, number one, you got to have enough machines. I'm assuming you have enough. Hell, if you had 4 machines, let's just say you had 4. You're not running 10K a month on 4 machines at 2 locations, 4 locations, well, however you want to figure it up. You're not doing that amount of money and not servicing those locations, because number one, you can't fit that much in it to be able to have that amount of money. And we're talking about snack and drink vending. I'm not talking about special stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm specifically talking about snacks and drinks. I have various types of machines, and I normally fill them all the way up at all my locations whenever I stock them. I have to be at my locations very often because they run through that stuff. So this whole idea that you can make 10K or you can produce that amount of money in the vending business and hardly do any work is untrue. It's not true. If you're doing it by yourself, number one, it's going to be a lot of work, because you're going to have to keep going back to a location like that. It's, just take me, for example. I have 30 machines. I have 30. And I do this all by myself. You know, my wife, she steps in and helps from time to time, but you know, she's not always there because she's a teacher. And there's no way that I can make what I'm making and just sit around all day and wait for it to come. I'm constantly in these locations, whether there be issues, whether there be restocking, getting the money, counting it up. Like, it's constant work when you get to that level. So yes, you can make 10K. You very well can. If your items are priced well, you make a decent profit, you can definitely make that type of money. But you cannot make that type of money if you're not being consistent. So don't let some of the language and narrative fool you that you're catching online that, you know, is very little work now. You know, when we talk about this business being passive, and yes, to an extent, but when you get up to a certain level, it's not as passive as you think it would be. It's a lot of work that you put into it, especially if you got one person doing it, like myself. You know, I'm constantly in the stores, you know, citing items, just trying to find the right price, you know, stuff like that. I'm constantly doing things, you know, to help benefit the company and to give my customers what they want, you know. So again, if you want to make 10K a month, be prepared to work your ass off. Be prepared. It's not that easy as a lot of people pretend for it to be, you know. So all right, guys, but that's what I want to talk to you guys about. We'll come back probably, you know, I'll do these kind of videos from time to time and give you guys some insight into just what's going on in my head. Again, you can always reach out to me. I'm an open book. You know, nothing here is being sold. I don't sell none of this information anywhere you find on the internet. I don't sell none of this stuff. We'll never sell this stuff. I feel like there's room out here for all of us to succeed, and if I can be a helping hand to somebody, you know, then that's the blessing in my book. So for me, it's a blessing to me to be able to do that. So I told you I didn't have no locations today, so I appreciate you all for coming through and showing love. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit the dislike if you didn't like it. Actually, I'd like to hear what everybody got to say. You know, at the end of the day, I want this channel to be geared to what you guys want to see. So, like it or not, I'm okay with that. I mean, I live a life of being judged all the time, so it's okay. But again, thank you guys for coming through, and we'll see you next time.